120 business women based in South Africa have come together to make up a group of entrepreneur cohorts under the Graça Machel Trust called Women Creating Wealth. This is an entrepreneurship development program that commenced in February in 2020. This Women's Month, these wealth creators are taking action. The women are not only celebrating each other, but they're making a call to the world to join and support their social media campaign by going beyond the likes and hashtags, by creating awareness and shining the spotlight on women in business and women-owned businesses. This is in an effort to help them remain sustainable. For more on this, we're joined via Skype by Koko from the Graça Machel Trust, technical and advisory consultant. A very good morning to you. Tell us more about the Graça Machel Trust, Women Creating Wealth, the South African cohort.
Thank you, Desiree. Good morning and happy Women's Day, Women's Month for that matter too. So the Trust, our work first primarily starts with supporting Mrs. Machel's humanitarian advocacy to multiply faces and voices of women and children so that they are put at the heart of Africa's development agenda. Our women's program advocates primarily for the recognition of women as key drivers of Africa's economic transformation. We support women to advocate and remove structural barriers, and we also strengthen their self-belief, skills, and confidence to unleash their full potential. So the Women's Creating Wealth program really tries to solve this problem, which is that women entrepreneurship is growing in Africa at a huge rate. It's more recognized than. There's more women entrepreneurship vibrancy in Africa than anywhere in the world. And yet their businesses continue to stay small, micro, and with very little prospect of growing and scaling. So Women Creating Wealth, as the name says, is how do we really inspire women to, with a mindset that they can, and they can truly, with a different attitude and support, create the wealth that they can do. We know that women support families, educate their children, they support communities, and money in the hands of women go really, really far. So really, in the spirit of what the Trust does, we really are advocating for more women's businesses to grow and thrive, and also to really go towards the issue of structural barriers. What's really holding women back? Because whilst we can work on the demand side, which is build their capacity, build their confidence to be able to grow their businesses, the structural barriers are real. Access to finance, access to markets are real issues. So we're saying here, let's have a partnership. We as the Trust, as advocates of women, entrepreneurship and leadership, we will do our part to make sure that the women have the right skills, the confidence to be able to engage the market. But we also really believe that when we have been left behind, we do need, like the BEE quote does, is how do we get more preferential kind of treatment for women so that they're able to get the access the market, grow their market share, and get the finance that invariably is necessary for us to grow our businesses.
Koko, the structural problems you're referring to, are they the same for different women in different countries? What are you going to do to get rid of those? Because you'd have to encounter or deal with different sets of challenges in different countries.
I think the challenge of structural barrier is across the world. It's global, and so our work as a Trust is one: how do we get more women having the confidence to sit in decision-making platforms? So that's a leadership issue. So we're not just building women as entrepreneurs, we're building women as leaders who have the confidence to sit in those decision-making platforms. And structural barriers is a long-term systemic issue. So we're not saying that it's going to go away overnight, but we're saying that the more women we organize to make this part of their agenda and to have the confidence to be part of solving the problem, through participating and sitting in decision-making platforms, the more we'll be able to say, this is the nature of the problem. This is the microscopic nature of this that we need done. If we're talking about access to market, what specifically in access to market are we looking for? What are we doing on our part to make sure that when we're given opportunity in the market, we're able to do justice to it? In terms of access to finance, it's known that women are definitely much more marginalized when it comes to getting access to finance. So we ask ourselves when we have this intervention of the Women Creating Wealth program, what do we need to do? We have classes that we're learning about the fact that the compliance issue is great. It's really, really important. If you don't meet the right criteria, you will not get finance. So how do we ensure that we meet the right criteria? Sometimes it means we need a lot more technical support. How do we get the right technical support to strengthen our business plans, to help us meet the due diligence requirements of getting finance? So we're looking at the problem in both the supply and demand side way, so that we're not just complaining, we are being part of the solution. So it is a long-term problem, but we're certainly building a cadre of women who are going to start making meaningful discussions, sitting in these decision-making platforms where we can find solutions to have a more inclusive economic growth.
You keep referring time and again to women who have the confidence. And let's just analyze that a bit. I mean, your founder, Graça Machel, is known as one of the most confident women in terms of women leadership for African women. And it's a big problem for women, isn't it? Confidence. Sometimes it takes one conversation to turn it around. Sometimes it takes a lifetime of conversations. Is this a challenge for you? How are you working around it?
So a core part of our Women Creating Wealth program is personal mastery. We really are going to the heart of the problem, which is if you don't have a strong sense of concept, a sense of self-belief, and also work on whatever it is that has been holding you back and pinning you down. I mean, there's a lot of, challenges. Different people grow up in different families. And so whatever your family, was able to do for you to build your confidence will go a long way. For many women, the male child is probably more preferred. I was very lucky to have brought up in a family where, we had both 3 girls and 3 boys, and both our mothers and our mother and father treated us equally. So I think that was a really important start for us. I don't think I've ever had a problem with confidence because of that. But there are women who maybe did not have those same privileges. So when they come into a program like this, we start with personal mastery and this sense of self-belief. The other thing about confidence also, especially in business, is your competencies, the level of your ability to master key entrepreneurial behaviors, setting goals, being innovative, creative, meeting commitments. So those are kind of, soft issues that we go to. We also go into leadership, emotional intelligence, because I think women, yes, we're emotional, but we also need to know how to control our emotions. So these are all really important anchors to this program that helps us take women through building their confidence. And I am 100% sure. We've only started the program in March, but and in August, I can say at least 100% of our women are close to, saying they've got their confidence up by, say, 60%. When we finish the program in December, we want them to all say we are hitting the 200 mark, because that is what will change the game. Without confidence and self-belief, we're not going anywhere fast. So this part of the program is really important to us. Before we can say we increase turnover, because that's also a very important indicator of the program and its impact. In COVID, we are really starting with let's keep these businesses surviving. Because if they don't survive, they will not even have the chance of growing. So survival means, at least let's sustain. We're happy to say that the poll that we did in the program, at least 56% of the women say we're surviving, 14% say they're thriving, and then the rest are saying, they're kind of declining a little bit, but they still have hope because they are with a community of women who are inspiring, who are giving them business, and that's what we want to amplify in this Women's Month, is how do we get more women supporting their own businesses? Because we know that women have a strong purchasing power. I think they often don't know it because they don't aggregate it, but we really want to put it squarely and encourage women to say, your purchasing power matters. Take it seriously and make sure that you use your purchasing power on another woman's business, because when women have money, and especially in South Africa context, there's so many single-headed households powered by women. So when we have more women in the hands of women's in the hands of women, we know the families are being held. We know communities are being empowered and supported. So, money in the hands of women goes a long way. And that's what this whole campaign, hashtag support her business, is about.
Koko, which countries are you operating in, and what are you saying to your database, the women who come to you, about access to markets and how you can assist them in accessing those markets?
So the Trust works in about 17 African countries. The Women Creating Wealth program is targeting at least 10 of those countries in the next 3 years. So far, we've done 4 countries, including South Africa, and we are at 420 with the South African cohort. We hope that in the next 2 to 3 years, as we digitize the program, we'll be able to scale it and at least reach 1,000 women in this time. But I think a big part of our intervention is also how do we connect women across the continent to do business together? Because I think intra-Africa trade has really become central with the African Union kind of bringing Africa together as one common market. We really want to get women at the heart of this as well. So Women Creating Wealth is also one of our aims, is to connect these women over the in the next year or two to really work together and grow their businesses together. And that's also a very important part of accessing markets. Is that you're going beyond your locality, you're going beyond South Africa. The other programs of Women Creating Wealth has been held in Zambia, Tanzania, and Malawi. So at least we can start with those 3 countries so that we have these 4 countries trading together. But because the Trust program goes beyond these 4 countries, we also want to stretch it. We can also open the platform, such as this campaign, to the whole of the continent for women to join the campaign and really get their businesses out there. I think it's a very important initiative for access to market. So when you say, how are we doing on access to markets? This is precisely one of the interventions around that. But also, when we work with women, a very important part of the Trust DNA is organizing women as networks. Because when you organize, Mrs. Machel has always said, government cannot talk to disparate voices. It's important that you bring your collective agenda and ask together, so that when you go to government, they know that you are representing a multitude of women and you are better heard. And that's what we're doing. So even the Women Creating Wealth principle is around that. We're asking the women to put themselves in different clusters. Yes, you may be in construction, you may be in services, but if you're in services, what particular niche are you in? Are you in communication? Are you in marketing? If you're in agribusiness, what are you in? Are you in primary agriculture? Are you in agro-processing? So it's really organizing these women in small clusters so that we then have our ask, who are the contacts that we need to speak to, and and what is the due diligence in terms of our background, our own responsibility to make sure that when we are put in front of decision makers and the people that we say we want business from, we have done our due diligence and we do due service to what it is that we put our mouth to. So that's part of the process of the Women Creating Work program. The women the South African cohort are incredibly exciting and really energized women. They are pushing to do business and do big business. I think every woman in the program is tired of doing small business. So we're saying support her business so that she can also grow her business.
In fact, Koko, that was going to be my next question to you, that you have 2 types of women. A woman who wants to be self-sufficient and wants to run a business on a local basis, just make sure that she has a livelihood. But there's this other side, which is the more challenging one. What are you saying to the people you're dealing with about scale? Making sure that you reach bigger heights, bigger markets, sell in numbers, whatever product or service it is that you're selling, which is one of the big challenges we have in terms of developing women's business. What sort of conversations are you having in that regard?
So I think, as the name says, Women Creating Wealth, our criteria is that you want to grow your business. We respect that there's a multitude of different types of business women. Some want to grow, some don't want to grow. But I also don't think actually that many women don't want to grow their businesses. because why would you be in business if you don't want to grow your business? I think there's a mindset that I only want to do this. And whatever you believe is true. So if you only want to grow a small business, you will stay in a small business. But I think for those who want to do better and bigger, those are the women we're attracting into this program. They're not there to just do small business because they've done it for a while and they're now seeing that they want to get to the next level. So we're working with those women. Now, when it comes to scale really is a mindset as well because it comes with a lot of responsibility. So part of the program, a big part of the program is really helping the women to understand what it is to scale your business, right? What does it require? It needs people, it needs finance, it needs your ability to work really hard. So all those commitments are things that we really are working around to be able to get women to scale their business. You also need networks. So starting with our women's networks and working with ourselves is really important to us because that's a very important way to scale. That you aggregate your offerings and your products so that you're able to offer a bigger offering to suppliers, your customers. Because if you go, for instance, to say you're in poultry and and the demand for poultry is say 1,000 crates or even 100,000 crates, and you're one poultry farmer and you're not able to make it. But if you know other women who are also doing poultry, you pull your resources together and you're able to offer that. So that's a very important part of this Women Creating Wealth program, is that aggregating ourselves is really a very important way to scale our businesses, because you rather have 10% of a huge market than have 100% of a small market. So it's also getting ourselves to change our mindset to say, I want to be one sole provider, because we know that you won't be able to deliver the kind of quantities that is often on offer. And that's where a lot of women get excluded because they can't supply. So this idea of aggregating ourselves is really important. And for women who are ready, we're going with them. We also want these women to inspire other women to know that they can. So we have a pipeline process to say we're not leaving anybody behind intentionally, but let's certainly start with those who are ready to do business in a big way so that they can inspire and be role models for other women to be able to do this as well.
Our viewers watching and wanting to be part of this, how do they go about it?
So the hashtag support her business campaign can be found on the Graça Machel Trust LinkedIn. This is a big social media campaign. So at the moment, it's going to be on LinkedIn, on the Graça Machel Trust Facebook, on the Graça Machel Trust Twitter. But the LinkedIn definitely has all the information about what you need to do. We expect women to wear black, do a video, or have a poster that says support her business and pay it forward. And all the instruction is in that poster. So please go to Graça Machel Trust, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter, and you'll get the information to participate. And we're calling the whole of the continent to support this initiative, because the more we reach our critical mass of voices, educating other women that they can and they should support other women's businesses. And of course, with our whole families, our families, our men, everybody who really believes in the power of women to support her business, because we know that money in the hands of women really is reinvested into our communities, is reinvested in our families, and it's important that we get our women businesses up and running in a big way.
Koko, I don't know where we're speaking to you from. Our producers didn't let me know. But as we celebrating Women's Day here in South Africa, just tell us about Koko. Who is she? Where does she come from? And you were saying during the conversation that you've never had issues in terms of confidence. Where did all that confidence come from?
Oh, my. So my name is, I'm Koko Kujo. My passion is entrepreneurship and women's leadership development. I've been with the Trust. I've had the privilege of working with the Trust for the last 5 years. I lived in South Africa for 20 years. I grew up in Swaziland. I'm born Ghanaian. I now live in Scotland with my family here, but I still work with the Trust. And now that we have, we're all working virtually, it's really easy to do business no matter where you are. And yeah, I've had the privilege of working, of being brought up by a rural family. I'm born to, a working class family. But my father was really incredible in that he really treated all of us. And he was one father who just, every time I talk about him, I'm so emotional because when it was not sexy to have children on your back, our father would put us on his back. And we have an incredibly strong mother as well. Both parents are alive, strong parents. And this is where I get my all from. That's the beginning. And that's what carries me going forward.
It's been
Happy Women's Day in celebration of women and the great men in our lives. Thank you.
It's been totally awesome talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Desiree. Happy Women's Day.
Didn't mean to bring tears to your eyes, but thank you for the realness. Koko is the technical and advisory consultant at the Graça Machel Trust, and encouraging African women there to take up your place at the table and make leadership decisions.